Dear friends, it's day 933 of the three-day Russian invasion of Ukraine. The Russian terrorists killed 3 representatives of the Red Cross in Donetsk Oblast of Ukraine. Russian IT sector sanctioned. The UK responded to Putin's threats. Let's talk about the most recent updates right now. First of all, let's talk about the most important update of the day. 49 Ukrainian prisoners returned from the Russian captivity. 42 of them are military and police personnel. 7 are civilians. How do you think? Why do Russian terrorists capture civilians in Ukraine? Please let me know in the comments. The US introduced new sanctions against the Russian IT sector. As of yesterday, already quite a few companies declared either exiting the Russian IT market or adopting new restrictions for the Russian users. As it turned out, Google restricted new user registration and blocked the AdSense monetization in Russia. Microsoft is disconnecting the Russian users from its cloud services. Slack services will also become unavailable for the Russian companies in the nearest future. Autodesk, CAD, Atlassian, Jira, Trello and Confluence declared quitting the Russian market as well. And now, my friends, IT sector in Russia looks like in the good old Soviet times, except that they still have the biggest torrent network of the stolen software in the universe. I hope next step will be developing a reliable mechanism of blocking fake accounts that were created by Russians in millions to spread disinformation about Ukraine. As you probably know, there were discussions among the NATO countries about letting Ukraine hit Russian targets with the Western weaponry. Putin, widely known around the world as Huilo, already responded to this, saying that using Western weapons against Russian targets will mean war. Fun fact, my dear viewers, you probably know the most widespread weapon used by terrorists, cartels, and totalitarian regimes around the world, from Colombia to North Korea. Does it mean that we can blame Russia for 90% of violence committed on planet Earth? You know, it was supposed to sound like an irony, but technically we can. Anyways, the reason Russian Huilo even talked about it was because it bothered him. Looking at the map showing 2.5 years of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, you probably understand why. That is why Huilo made another intimidating statement aimed at the NATO countries. Of course, things like Russian nuclear weapons were designed to intimidate people on the West. However, there are 2 simple explanations why Putin won't be launching them against the West. Reason number 1 is that Russians didn't start this war because they wanted to die. And Putin knows it better than anybody. He didn't attack Ukraine because he wanted to die in the nuclear backfire. No, it's not part of his plan, and he enjoys life and he doesn't want to lose it. And the second reason why Russia won't hit Europe and the US is because Russian politicians don't want to kill their children working and studying in Europe and the US. And this one is the most nuclear-proof reason that you can find. As a response to the Russian threats, the British Prime Minister stated, "Russia started this conflict. Russia illegally invaded Ukraine. Russia can end this conflict straight away. Ukraine has the right to self-defense." Now, yesterday the Russian terrorists attacked the convoy of the Red Cross. This was only mentioned briefly. Besides the Ukrainian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, also President Zelensky called it a war crime, and top European spokesman Josep Borrell condemned the Russian strike, but besides that, I didn't find any significant reaction from the UN, for example. What happened in the Donetsk Oblast is basically the Red Cross announced the humanitarian aid distribution, Russian terrorists learned about it and hit the area with the artillery, killing 3 and injuring 2 workers of the Red Cross. The casualties were also confirmed by the chief of the Red Cross, Mirjana Spolyarich, who also condemned the attack on the Red Cross personnel. The Russian Ministry of Invasions routinely stated that they only attack military military objects in Ukraine, but we must all understand that to Russians every object in Ukraine is military. Every hospital, every kindergarten, and every civilian. Terror Russia is known around the world for fighting against civilians. There were no historical cases of Russia not committing atrocities. For example, recently they issued arrest warrants against the journalists who visited Kursk Oblast. Yesterday, a ship carrying Ukrainian grain to Egypt was attacked by Russian aircraft in the territorial waters of Romania. Again, not even a single news outlet mentioned this yesterday. However, it's a clear war crime. Russians feel relaxed knowing that they are backed on the West by some of the most hardcore politicians, and the democratic opposition in Russia is either dead or scared to death. The question is, how much are we scared of the Russian terrorism, and how much are we dedicated to defend against it? With that, my friends, I wish you all a beautiful day. Please share your thoughts in the comments. I'm Operator Starsky. As always, be safe.